So yesterday I started the video by saying we got some good news and we got some bad news. And we had a little conversation. Well, it wasn't a conversation. I was talking to the camera, but I like to think it was a conversation of whether you like the good news or the bad news delivered first. Me, I prefer the bad news because things can only get better. And I gave an analogy, which was like a roast dinner, basically. You eat the Brussels sprouts first. Thank you for your Brussels sprout recipes, by the way, very nice. I actually don't mind Brussels sprouts, but the analogy sort of works, hopefully. You eat the Brussels sprouts first, so at the end of the plate, you've got the Yorkshire pudding and the roast potatoes, right? Today it's all Brussels sprout, I'm afraid. There's no Yorkshire pudding, there's no roast potato, there's certainly not any treacle tart or spotted dick at the end, that's for bloody sure. So, yeah. Anyway, guess we better get to it. Actually, let's just cover what we spoke about yesterday. Douglas Luiz, former Man City, Aston Villa midfielder, Brazilian midfielder, really good, signed for Juventus, not done so well at Juventus, linked with us yesterday with good reports from really good source, which was La Gazzetta dello Sport, we covered it yesterday, saying that West Ham were close to concluding a deal. And I said at the time, I expect to be rubbish in this story at some point later on in the day. I wanted to believe it, but it was hard to believe, and it didn't take very long before that story was rubbish. It was by Hammers News, who had spoken to a club spokesman, and it said not true. Now, maybe it's just me. Ordinarily, I think that's completely dead. That's dead. That's done. The story's not gone away, though. Let me just say this. So I think it's 99% that we're not going to sign Douglas Luiz. However, I do wonder, I don't know the question that was asked. If the question was asked that this report has said we're close to completing a deal and the answer was not true, that could mean that we're not close. We're not in the final stages of it. It doesn't mean we're not in for him. Because a lot of reports from a lot of the Leeds United and a lot of the Everton-based media who seem to think that we've got the lead on this. So yeah, they've not quite accepted that West Ham haven't got Douglas Luiz yet. I guess we can at least hope. That's about as Yorkshire pudding and roast potato-ish as this is going to become, because ultimately the story was rubbish. It was said that it's just not true. That's the most likely thing. We're not going to get him. There's been a series of bad news stories. One of them, I think, really takes precedent over a lot of the others, and that is Richard Ríos, who West Ham have been looking at for quite some time. Plays for Palmeiras, a Colombian midfielder. Been linked to him for quite a long time, long enough for us all to have had a look at him, and I think the vast majority have liked what they've seen. People have been able to he's been on the telly in the Club World Cup and everything, so people have had a chance to look then. We had a look a couple of months ago when by using the video software on Y-Scout. Looks to be a really, really good player. So today, Fabrizio Romano has said that he wants to move to Roma. He wants to move to Roma so much that he's willing to sacrifice the 10% bonus that he would get out of a transfer fee or something like that. It was some sort of bonus, some sort of financial kickback he would have got by staying at Palmeiras or by joining somewhere else, or whatever the case may be. He's willing to sacrifice money, that's the point, to join Roma. That's how much he wants to go there. And I didn't actually, when I saw like the paraphrased reports, it looked like he's rejected West Ham. It didn't, Romano, I thought, didn't actually say that. I thought he just said he wants to join Roma, which means we're probably not going to sign this player. So he is yet another guy that we're not going to sign. We get back to this situation that we had with El Hadji Malik Diouf, or Magic Diouf. We'd like to call him Magic Diouf because it means he's signed for us, so we can give him a nickname. Report came out last night that so we're really delaying on this deal. We really are. But report came out last night saying that he's packed his bags and he's ready to go. And it painted this picture like he's got his suitcases in his hands. He probably wants to rest them on the floor. He'd have aching arms. He did that for too long. He's probably got one of those suitcases with wheels. Big difference for a suitcase with 4 wheels and 2 wheels, I've discovered, by the way. Anyway, he's waiting by the door. His suitcase is packed. He's got his wash bag, his toothbrush. He's ready to go. And it very much painted the picture of that. Really. Well, I've just painted the picture for you, I guess. Look, I'm not sure we can honestly know that's the case, that he's packed his bags. What we do know is that he's ready to join West Ham. He is absolutely ready to join West Ham now. And he's agreed to join, and you just think, what's the bloody hold up? Just get the deal done. And I hate it when it's like this, because I've seen so many players over the years that we've been linked with, and I don't know who they are before we're linked to them, and then we seem to make a complete cock-up and a complete hash of getting the deal over the line. And then by the end of it, you're thinking, I just want them to sign this player. I've never seen this player play, but now I really want us to sign him because we're doing such a bad job. I'm sort of getting to that situation with him. I think the guy's name was Arnel Martinez. No, that's the other one. No. There's different. There were two different ones. Anyway, it's one of the fullbacks. I think it's the fullback that played at Geneva. It's the Geneva fullback. They did really, really well in Syria last season. So when I looked at it, I thought, actually, he's the guy I want. He was like up the top for assists last season. I thought, yeah, he's the guy. He looks like the guy. But now I just want to get this guy over the line, just so as to show that we can get a signing. But some stories are just frustrating because they're true. Some stories you just don't know. And then I read this one, and this one makes your heart sink. And I read this off. Come on, you Irons. On Twitter. Said West. And by the way, this is not their story. They've taken it from someone else, right? West Ham are exploring the free agent market with two experienced Premier League names on their radar: Abdoulaye Doucouré, 32, and Tom Kearney, 34. We were interested in Kearney during Moyes' first stint. Let me just make that little reminder there. I don't actually believe this, all right? I don't. I don't believe that. And I don't. They've taken it. It's just a report from, I can't even read wherever the report's from. It's from some obscure website that they've taken the story from. I just don't think that's the case. I don't think that meets the profile of the players we have been going for. And it's like, we actually, funny enough, we discussed this when we did our Patreon mug of tea. If you want to go and watch that, by the way, check out the link in the description below for Hammers Chat Patreon. You can go and sign up for £3.60 a month, or you can go and try the 7-day free trial. So yesterday we recorded a mug of tea where we answer everybody's questions. And actually Gio said on that, on this season he doesn't believe the stories about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he doesn't believe the stories about Callum Wilson, whereas before, he would have done. And I'm very much aligned with that. The profile of these players does not suit and does not fit with what Graham Potter is trying to do. Now, let's get this right. Whether what Graham Potter and Carl McCauley are trying to do, which is definitely target younger players, whether that works or not, we don't know if it's going to... We haven't signed a single player yet. But whether we've signed them or whether we haven't signed them yet, I think the type of players we're targeting, that's quite clear. So, yeah, I don't necessarily believe this. And, when... It's really tough because things are really bad at West Ham at the moment. It's easy to get annoyed with stuff, all of it. And, some people even get annoyed with stuff that's not happening. And when I did notice it when Calvert-Lewin had been released by Everton, a lot of West Ham fans, I say a lot, they were probably, it looked like there were 50, 100 West Ham fans online who'd got really, really angry about it because they just assumed he was coming to West Ham. And I think this is the trouble. Because we've not signed anyone, everyone's just sort of assuming the worst on this. I would like to, at the moment, I'm not going to try and wind myself up unnecessarily. At the moment, I would think we were not going to sign these two players. And I just hope we can get a signing over the line. There was the disappointment yesterday. Yesterday's Brussels sprout, of course, was hard on Jashiri, which, he wants to go to AC Milan. You can't blame him. You can't blame Richard Ríos for wanting to go to Roma. You can't blame anyone. You'd look at West Ham and you'd look at us. You'd see two things. You'd see our form last season, and you'd also see... I doubt any potential signing scratches below the surface and they can see our frustration as fans. But I think, maybe look at the performance last season, swapping the managers, then you look and you see we're selling players. And we've sold, a really, really good player to Tottenham. So you can understand why other players would want to join other clubs. So, Yeah, it is a little bit frustrating. Funny enough, on Roma, just before we depart for this sunny again today, and it really hot, still hot. Nathan Gerd, Roma want him, and but again they can't seem to afford him. They want him on a loan deal. The club are not going to give Nathan Gerd on a loan deal. And as I said before, this is the only stance I sort of really like that the club have taken this season, which is, no, people will pay our asking price, and if not, he will report for training, which he's done. And if the necessary bid doesn't come in, he's not going out on loan. He will play in Graham Potter's team, and that means we won't buy a left-footed centre back because we got one there in Nathan Gerd. This is the right way to conduct your business, you know. So I quite like that. But Roma are interested in, but Roma are also interested in Dinos Mavropanos. So, yeah, read into that what you will. But look, as things stand at the moment, we've still not signed anyone. It's looking a bit crap, isn't it, really? When do you get desperate? Do you know what I mean? When do you... It's not when do you start to worry. I started to worry last season. But, you know, it's not like worry is a spectrum, isn't it? You know, it's not like it's just one flat line of worry. The worry just keeps going up and up and up and up and up, doesn't it? You know, so it's not a case of when do you start worrying or whatever. When do you panic? When do you have a meltdown? I don't know. We really need to sign some players. We really, really need to sign some players. And I don't think it's, as I covered day before yesterday's Patreon video, I don't think it's as many players as everybody thought and assumed, including myself, at the end of last season. And it might only be like 5 players, but we do need to sign them. You know, we really, really do. Because I do think a change of midfield to get the 2 midfielders we need will metamorphosise that area of the pitch and make us compete. At the moment, I do think Potter sorted out the defence, but I think realistically we only really compete defensively and on the right flank. That's it. I think there's 2 massive chunks of the team in the middle of the pitch and on the left flank where we don't compete. And you can argue up front as well. But I do think it's not easily fixed, but it can be fixed. You know, you get the left wing back, you play Somerville on the left, and you sort out the central midfield. I think you automatically, whoever's playing up front, whether it's Fulkrug or a new signing, just gets more service and things look better. But we've got to do it. You know, we've got to do it. Anyway, there you go. I was going to talk about Lucas Paqueta, but that could get old very, very quickly. And I'm going to leave it. I'm going to upload this video. Enjoy what is going to be a very, very sunny day. Stay cool. Stay hydrated. I don't know, I'm giving health advice. Don't eat too many Brussels sprouts. No, I think you can eat as many Brussels sprouts as you want. And if you're not entirely sure how to eat your Brussels sprouts or how to cook them, if you look on yesterday's video, some really nice tips on how to cook a lovely Brussels sprout.